Where we live, there's a new bridge getting built every day.
Hey, you know what? You got a point. Yeah, that just kind of fixed everything right there. Like, just think about that part. Oh, they building another bridge?
Oh, man.
Man, this highway been shut down for how many months now?
Yes. Oh, it's ridiculous.
What's good, y'all? It's the Demouchets React, and we're back with another video. Who we got today, C?
Today we're back with another American reaction.
Yes.
We're super excited about this video, guys.
Super.
If you're new to us and we're new to you, make sure you scroll down, hit the red subscribe button, and turn on the post notification bell because we're on the road to 50K. And we cannot get there without you guys, all right? Join the family. Without further ado, let's get into the video.
This is a map of Europe's mass transit railway system across 33 countries.
Oh, wow.
The yellow lines indicate the presence of a train line, and as you can see, it's very dense. There are hardly any spaces where there isn't any coverage for railways. Now, if we compare this to a map of railroad tracks in the US, it's a different story.
Big difference.
While parts of the US have some good mass transit, there are large areas of the country which isn't covered by Amtrak, the nation's largest passenger railroad service. But let me show you another map, this time of high-speed rail in Europe. Now obviously, high-speed railways aren't going to be as common as regular speed railways as they require excellent design, strict planning, and massive investment. And yet, as we can see, high-speed rail is present in Europe, which is a stark contrast to the US, as you can see from this map. While the US does have some higher speed rail, like the Aquila line in the Northeastern Corridor, it's hardly an effective map of transport solutions. And the Aquila line isn't really that fast either.
How long it
can
takes.
reach
It's
about
high
150
speed.
miles per hour,
Oh,
but
jeez.
averages less than 70. This is not the case for Europe's insanely well-designed railroad system. And you have to remember that Europe's system accomplishes this while spanning 33 different nations in a very diverse continent. And I know what you're probably thinking. This is just because Europe is smaller than the United States, which simply isn't true. While the European Union is smaller than the US, continental Europe has an area that is about 1.04 times as much as the US. So we can dismiss this argument that the United States can't be that well designed because it's too big. Europe simply is better designed. But if you're American, you might not understand why railroad tracks or public transport as a whole is so important. I mean, driving a car works fine, right? Well, no. And Europe showcases why a primary focus on private transportation is so detrimental to a well-functioning transit system. Look at these maps. They show the US road network versus the EU's. And as you can see, the EU's road network is not nearly as impressive as the US's. And yet, when you go to some of the most congested cities in the world, European countries don't feature particularly prominently in the global rankings. This is pretty shocking information because you'd assume that the country with a more expansive road network has a lot less congestion, especially considering the United States has devoted lots of time and money to their highways. So how come Europe is less congested when they have fewer roads? Well, it all comes down to disincentivizing the use of cars and, most importantly, making an attractive alternative. Europe does this by having both private and public transportation infrastructure, which technically the US has as well, it's just a lot worse. But on top of this, Europe makes it pretty expensive to buy, own and use a car. This is achieved by having high taxes on vehicles and gasoline. In fact, here's a map of worldwide gasoline prices. As you can see, European nations are in the top rankings, while the US lies at the bottom, charging very little. But let me be very clear, it's only a good idea to make it expensive to drive a car if you have an attractive alternative, which America doesn't, but Europe does. I mean, obviously this wouldn't work in the US with its current transportation infrastructure.
Okay, hold on, wait a minute. Cause y'all know how I feel about having my own vehicle. That's very interesting. You know, I read an article the other day. I was showing you this article that it says that California is going to every person in California is gonna have electric cars by 2035 or something like that. I forgot exactly what the title was, but I don't know. It just brings me up to this a point that one of our supporters made about how cars are detrimental to the environment.
Polluting and other things like
Polluting.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it is dangerous. You're risking your life every single time you're in a vehicle. So it's that's interesting.
Yeah, it brings us up to the question is like, do we want to live a life where we don't have transportation as in vehicles, but we have it, but not as, as beneficial as trams and other things as needed for our resources. But like, can we survive with that type of way of living?
In the United States, no.
Yeah, in the United States, no. I mean, with the traffic and everything that we do have to get from A to B, but like, we don't have crazy trans like this is going 150 miles.
Right.
Like here in Texas, we may see one every blue moon,
but that's Texas. Their trams. What did you say? They are with all of 36 countries. Or something
they
like
actually
that.
get through the
Ours
country.
is cities.
City to
If
city.
that. No, remember they were trying to do a speed train from Dallas to Houston that would take an hour to get there, and I think they stopped that.
Well,
they're not doing it anymore. So they're trying. They're trying to think of alternatives.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it would be beneficial for us to have that.
Yeah.
I mean, I would get on it. I would use it. I wouldn't mind having transportation.
3-4 hours.
Right, instead of using up my gas and things like that, and if needed, Uber or Lyft somewhere at the end of the day just to get from A to B. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah.
But here he is explaining how the vehicles are more expensive, and you gotta have a nice wage job to pay for it. So you will see more people walking than you will see people in the vehicle,
or utilizing public transportation.
And that's purposeful, right? They do that on purpose.
Yeah.
True. But in Europe, this is a great strategy because you make the roads less congested for those who actually need them and give everyone else an affordable and efficient alternative, being Europe's amazing public transport like the trains on the railways. This is arguably the better strategy because even though the vast majority of Americans have access to vehicles, at around 91%, and gas is comparatively cheap, it still leaves 9% who don't have access to vehicles. What are these people who can't afford a car supposed to do? I mean, sometimes public transport isn't even an option or simply too expensive for many. So you've now actively excluded those who aren't exactly the most well off from society. To make matters worse, some US cities actually got rid of their public transport to make room for more cars. I'm not joking. American streetcars like trams were actually removed to make way for bigger roads. Absolutely insane.
Well, I do think that the article you're speaking about is getting to that point with electric vehicles. Yeah. Like you're seeing a whole lot more Teslas now, and if you can't afford it, who's to say they may just go just straight electric on us?
Right, and they're starting to. At first, it was just Tesla spearheaded, electric vehicles, but now Ford is having an electric vehicle. BMW has electric vehicles.
18-wheelers are coming with electric.
But that's Tesla.
Yes.
That's Tesla, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So. It looks like our country is starting to think of alternatives to the gasoline and polluting the air.
Right. So it's like if you can't afford it, which people will be able to, I believe, but if you can't afford it, like the alternative is you will have to walk, or they will have more trains, lined up. Because I wouldn't say they will go full electric on us and not have a plan B for the community to still benefit from.
Right. Or maybe they will bring back, the streetcars. New Orleans do have the streetcars. Yes, New Orleans is, I'm not sure. I want to say like up north, like New York, maybe have something like this. I'm not sure. But I want to say they do. Just off of the articles that I read and things like that.
I know New York got it.
To Oslo, Berlin, and Madrid, where discussions are underway to restrict or even exclude most cars from the city centre. Let's not forget that when you have cars, you also need somewhere to park them. And this is where things start to become rather ridiculous. You see, the United States has 2 billion parking spaces for 250 million cars. That's 8 parking spaces per vehicle. In Europe, it's pretty much a 1-to-1 with around 250 million public parking spaces for 300 million cars. But to emphasize the ridiculousness of this even further, The area that the US dedicates for car parking is actually larger than the area dedicated for housing people. It's honestly unbelievable that people are being squeezed out of American cities due to regulators wanting to make more room for parking spaces. This simply wouldn't fly in the EU, as it has a whole policy dedicated to improving urban planning. See, the EU spent 115 billion euros between 2014 and 2020 to improve city design by making it smarter, greener, and more connected. Simply meaning they allocated funds to make their cities more efficient, more connected, and better for the environment. And better for the environment they really are, as the average resident in a typical Western US city, such as Los Angeles or Phoenix, contributes approximately 6 times more carbon to the atmosphere per capita than an average European city resident. This is purely the result of not having effective transport solutions, which saves resources and allows people to move about efficiently. And exactly that, moving about efficiently is something most of Europe's citizens are able to do as a result of the European Union. See, most of Europe's nations are in the European Union, which gives the EU citizens a number of perks, which includes a free travel area. This has been one of the most important achievements of the EU, as it makes it possible for an EU citizen to travel freely to other EU member states and stay for up to 3 months.
Now, this is what I like about, the EU. I would love to be able to, go to Mexico without having to worry about all of these other things. Oh, I forgot my passport.
Right.
I would love to go to Canada. I would love to, go to the islands.
That is a huge benefit.
Just
Huge
to
benefit.
so easily, just with my driver's license. I
Right.
would love that.
So I was sitting here thinking, you guys, that it has to be a huge benefit to not be able to pay for a car insurance, a car note.
Yeah.
What else? Like anything that just has to do with, having a vehicle, renting a vehicle if needed, you know what I'm saying? All because everything you need is walking distance,
Right
or
there.
you have a train that can literally shoot you down the street in less than 10 minutes to get everything that you need, So
That's good. It is. But the type of person I am. I love
you
mine.
you gotta have your space. I know it. But then you gotta also look at the world that we live in now. Like, are we really moving in that direction where the U.S. is trying to minimize on vehicle usage, so we can have less, cars in the streets, traffics, and all that stuff.
Where we live, there's a new bridge getting built every day.
Hey, you know what? You got a point. Yeah, that just kind of fixes everything right there. Like, just think about that part. Oh, they building another bridge?
Oh, man.
Man, this highway been shut down for how many months now?
Yes. Oh, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
It's
so
ridiculous.
that kind of take my whole question thrown out the window.
But I would appreciate the convenience of having public transportation like they have it in our, city centers or whatever.
Yeah.
But again, just having the option of, if I walk up and there's a long line to get on, the bus or the tram or whatever, I would love to be able to turn around and be like, I'm going to just take my car today.
Yeah, I think that'd be good.
All they need is a passport or even just an ID card. No visas,
Oh, they
no
do need
trips
a
to embassies,
passport.
no form filing, just head straight over. This makes it incredibly easy to travel, study, and work in other countries and communities. And having this level of centralization is very important to good design, as it gives the smartest people the opportunity to work where they are most useful. And since good design obviously requires a lot of complicated problem solving and planning, this is very smart. Another smart thing is the incredible biking infrastructure we see in Europe, perfectly illustrated by this map of bike path density in Europe. All the purple lines are bike paths, and there's clearly a lot of them, especially towards the left side of the map, but that's just because this is the home of the Dutch, the Netherlands. Now, the funny thing is, I won't be able to compare this to a map of bike path density in the United States, because such a map hasn't been made. At least I wasn't able to find any, and I can only wonder why. But anyway, what Europe and also the European Union has achieved is pretty remarkable, as it's hard to think of another set of such diverse countries where you would be able to travel so freely, in an efficient and inexpensive manner. I mean, you can literally get from Paris to Amsterdam, for example, in just 3 hours for around
Wow.
$30.
$30.
Imagine being able to travel all over Asia without any border
$30.
crossings,
Not bad.
checks, or visas, and being able to stay for months at a time.
That's not
That would be
bad.
truly amazing.
Vacations,
And let's not forget
trips,
that European design
lit.
has always been distinctive and very successful.
I know what y'all doing. Y'all trying to get us to come over there for more than the time that we told y'all we was gonna come over there.
Yeah, man, because I gotta have all those experiences, especially if it's at your deposit. Like, it's really that beneficial. Like, $30 is not hard to come across.
Right. It's $30 to get to a city on a bus. Oh my! A city that's what 3 hours away on a
Right.
bus. And I know because I had to do it as a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, all right.
In fact, the continent's history of design and interconnectedness serves as a model for the rest of the world. But even though Europe and the EU are pretty great and have amazing infrastructure, they obviously aren't perfect. And I'd love to hear some of the reasons it might not be, so leave a comment down below if you have some thoughts on this. But that's it for this video, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
You know, EU does look mad expensive, and they are insanely well designed. They do have a lot of just things, like everything just look put together, and everything is so well orchestrated. Just how you guys have everything built.
Yes.
It does look expensive, but when you go into the concept of what they're spending, like $30 just to get from another country. I'm gonna drink to that.
Yes. So, y'all know we are planning some things. So, let us know in the comment section below, like, what should the itinerary look like for us? You know, we love history. We love, adventure. Has to be family friendly. Has to be easily accessible for us to, travel along with a stroller, things like that. We don't want to just stay in one spot. Y'all got trams that could take us from one country to the next.
Facts.
Okay?
Imagine being on a plane, or even before getting on a plane, and they have to weigh your luggage. You have to take, if you have any pets, you gotta see how much that's gonna cost you.
Yeah.
There's certain things you can't bring with you. Like on the trains, you can just literally get what you need and go.
Right. So y'all
Can't
let
beat
us
that.
know. You like this video, babe?
Yeah, it was pretty dope.
Yeah.
I liked it.
We hope y'all enjoyed it. Like this video, subscribe, turn on the post notification bell. We have enabled our super thanks.
Yes.
If you would like to support the channel that way, and our mailing address is in the description box below. We'll see you soon.
Peace.